Welcome back to Love Wrestling. Spencer here with someone who I'm certain you're tuning in for much, much more than myself. She is a six-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, the most decorated woman in tag team history as far as it goes on the ladies' end of things, and she'll be defending that title this Sunday at Evolution. Raquel Rodriguez, it is great to see you, friend. How are you doing on the precipice of another hopefully successful title defense?
Spencer, I'm doing tremendous. Honestly, there's nothing I can complain about other than not having my sister by my side for this evolution. I mean, we know that evolutions are, this is only the second one in history, so they're far and few to come by. And being able to be a part of this second evolution just feels so historic already. I wish I was doing it with La Güerita, my hermanita, right here by my side. But I feel really, really good about going into this evolution 2 with, Roxanne for the first time. And no matter what, it's like you said, I am the most experienced, the most decorated women's tag team wrestler on in this whole entire business. So that means, it's just going to be a cakewalk for me. These titles are going to stay right here where they're at.
Got the title on one shoulder, brushing the dirt off of the other. Now, you weren't part of the first evolution, but do you have any memories? Obviously, it was such a historic event for WWE and frankly, wrestling as a whole. So do you have any memories of around that time in 2018?
Yeah, in 2018, I was training at NXT. I was biting my nails trying to get any part that I could in Evolution and just to be a part of it. But I remember at that time, it was such a showcase of women and culture. I mean, we had women in NXT who were from Brazil, from China, from Japan, just different parts of the world that came from different backgrounds, not just independent wrestling or wrestling in general, but just doing different things like a black belt in judo, right? And so they all got to be a part of Evolution. And I thought that was a beautiful representation for women. So I could only be happy for all the women that got to take part because they were taking part of something that was going to start a storm when it came to women's wrestling. I mean, ever since that first Evolution, we knew then that we had the best women's roster, but we know now even more that WWE has the most amazing, most talented, most impressive women's roster in all of the history of the world.
Well, and like you say, it's certainly without Liv Morgan, unfortunately, on this one, but there are a ton of talented women, including your tag team partner and your co-champion as of this point, Roxanne Perez. Wildly different than Liv Morgan, both in the ring and as far as maybe the behind the scenes goes as well, too. But what's it been like working with the Prodigy for the better part of the last couple of months?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's definitely been a little skeptical on my part because it does feel like someone is trying to come and just sit in the place of my güerita, my sister Liv Morgan. But I've worked with Roxanne in the past. We had a little split second that we did some stuff at NXT. She also came to the main roster for a while and tagged with Shotzi and I. She also did a little bit with Liv and I at one point as well. And to say that me and her have history is kind of short because she was there when I was starting to train in wrestling and I was having my first, second, maybe third independent show down in Laredo, Texas, where she's from. And I remember meeting her for the first time, just a young girl, out there watching wrestling in Laredo and just telling me, about everyone that she's met. And so it was really exciting for me. And then when I did go back that one time, she was actually having her first tag match. So
Oh,
I was
cool.
actually there for her first match in her entire wrestling career as well. And so we have that little bit of history. We have that South Texas connection. And I think that's what's going to make us strong is that we both have a lot in common.
Is it a point of pride for you that you're so malleable? Obviously, working with Liv, working with Roxanne, you worked with Dakota Kai previously. Aaliyah, you were a tag team champion with to kick off as well, too. So is that a point of pride for you? Because at least from watching the independents and prior, there wasn't a lot of tag experience, at least it seems like off the bat. So am I right in that? And is it a point of pride for you?
What's funny is I've always been told like, yes, I'm very coachable. I'm easy to work with, all of those things. And I think that's shown definitely in my history with these women's tag titles. And yeah, I think it is a little bit of pride that I do have when it comes to that, because being able to work as a team, especially in this business and especially in this division, it's so, so important. You have to create something that the people are going to really gravitate towards and find interesting and a dynamic that they can hold on to and live in. And so to be able to do that with so many different women, so many different partners, it has made me feel really special to know that I can be a part of a team wherever I'm at. And I think a lot of that is due to my history with basketball. A lot of that is due to being a sister myself. My sister's only 2 years and 2 days older than me, so trying to get along with her for the whole entirety of my life has definitely been a learning curve. But yeah, I think it's definitely something that I do find pride in for sure.
Sometimes working with your best friend, sometimes working with a little bit of an enemy on that end. I've got three younger brothers myself, so I feel like there's a lot of crossover there. Now, speaking of malleability, you are defending against three of the most talented and wildly different, I guess, tag teams in WWE. But there's been a lot of speculation out there, so I am going to ask you on this one of things. Do you know if there was a plan to maybe work with the Bella twins heading into Evolution before obviously Liv's unfortunate injury, or maybe what can you give us on that end, Raquel?
Yeah, I knew something would happen with Nikki and Liv for sure, obviously from what we all saw, but that's honestly the entirety of what I know to my knowledge. I'm not sure if Brie ever got the memo that, hey, I wanted to step in the ring with her too, because I personally would absolutely love to work the Bella twins. I have been watching them for so long, probably since their career has started as well. Of course, I watched Total Divas. Of course, I watched Total Bellas. Of course, I watched Dancing with the Stars with my sister. It is part of our little bonding thing that her and I have. So I mean, stepping into the ring with Nikki and Brie would be an absolute honor, and I look forward to it into the future because just because it couldn't happen at Evolution 2 doesn't mean it can't happen later. Am I right?
That's exactly. You never say never in this business, I've sort of been
Never
told. It
say
looks like you're picking
never.
that too. Now, let's maybe assume here for a sec, or let's play fantasy booker for a minute, because maybe Liv is taking on Nikki Bella in a one-on-one match. There are a lot of opportunities for potential people to come back to WWE. If you were going in for a bit of a singles match here, was there maybe somebody you particularly had your eye on, or maybe someone you would want to see return to WWE for this event?
Oh, I've always said that I would love to have been able to step into the ring with China. She's absolutely history maker. She was definitely a big influence when it came into my life, into my career, especially in this business. I'd love to see Beth Phoenix make her way back around one more time for me, maybe. That would be really, really epic as well. If I had to pick someone else, I definitely would probably say Bianca Belair. I keep saying I would love to have a dream match with Bianca Belair. I haven't stepped into the ring with her on a one-on-one, and that's just something that I look forward to doing is creating some magic with the EST.
I want to get back to Bianca here in a second, but let's talk about Evolution coming up here on July 13th. You're taking on three, like I said, wildly different tag teams. You've got Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. You've got the reunited Kabuki Warriors, and then you've got Sol Ruka and Zarya. So, what's maybe your approach heading into this again with a bit of a newer partner on your end of things? A bit of a different game plan, I'd have to assume, for Raquel Rodriguez heading into this one.
What's great about this in general is just like look at all the teams that you kind of just named, right? Like me and Roxanne, yeah, okay, we're just meeting, we're just kind of gelling together. We're just about to have our first official tag team match, defending match together.
Which is
No big,
wild.
yeah, no big deal. Our first match ever as a tag team. It's also defending the titles. Good luck. But you have to look at Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss again, just kind of grouping up for the first time. They haven't really worked together in the past. If they have, it's been for very quick moments, but they're both completely different women at completely different points in their careers right now, coming together to fight for a tag title. So I would say, that's probably about the same level playing field as Roxanne and I. And then you have Sol and Zarya. Yeah, they've been together a little bit longer. They've been doing their thing down in NXT, but they're both so green. They're so green. I'm not going to worry about it. I feel like this is going to be an exciting moment for them. They're probably going to toot their little horns about being NXT and representing NXT in a big title match. So we'll let them, get to what they want to get to, and we'll just make sure we stop them when the time is right. And then, of course, there's the Kabuki Warriors who do have history together. They have been tag team champions, but Asuka's been out. Asuka's just coming back. She had an amazing match in Saudi for Queen of the Ring. She had a great opportunity there in the tournament. But I think her working with Kyrie, that's still something that they haven't really touched base on since her return. So I do see like all of the teams kind of in an equal playing field. I think it's anybody's game, we'll say, but it's really our game. And me and Roxanne are keeping these either way. So it's my game.
Outside of your own match this Sunday, what match are you most looking forward to at Evolution?
Ooh, man, there's some good ones out there. Like I'm really looking forward to Naomi and Jade. I feel like that one's gonna have a lot of fire. They definitely have the history of their story, and everything that's gone down with that. And now with Jade being Queen of the Ring, of course, and wanting to go after the title, there's just so much in that story with Tiffany involved and with that title on SmackDown that I'm engulfed in. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see the Battle Royal. I'm always looking forward to that, seeing who comes out on top. Rhea and Io again, that's probably going to be the top match of the night. Hands down. We have two of the most amazing women in the WWE women's division going one-on-one with each other. So that's just epic all in itself. So I mean, the card is just stacked. There's no part of the show that I'm not excited to see, especially because every other card that I watch, I'm always excited to see the women's segments. And so like now it's an entire women's segment.
Hell yeah. Well, you mentioned Rhea Ripley. I was going to ask you, you brought up Queen of the Ring, but you dabbled in a little bit of a match with Rhea Ripley again recently. Talk to me about that street fight in Saudi because that finish to the match was one of the coolest things that I've seen in a heck of a long time. And I may not be as grizzled as some of the other people watching wrestling out there, but that was cool as hell. So talk to me about the relationship there with Rhea Ripley, the feud with Rhea Ripley. Maybe we won't talk about the results all that much, but talk to me about the match and just the experience of being over there.
Yeah, Saudi is always an experience every time we go to Riyadh or to Jeddah. It's definitely something that I did have, on my list to get done. And now I've done it about 3 times. And every time I'm honestly, I'm very happy to go. I'm happy to be over there representing WWE, representing women's wrestling, and getting to experience that culture that we don't really see or feel around here. And getting the opportunity to have a street fight with Rhea Ripley over there was absolutely amazing. I'm not going to lie. Like, I really feel that my star has catapulted since that night. I've definitely I've reminded everyone who Raquel Rodriguez is because I think people watch that match and they haven't seen me do singles work like that since NXT probably. I got called up to SmackDown and I was put into a position to now be, this good guy, this baby face, and completely kind of change my character a little bit. And then I got put into tag, storylines after tag storylines, and I became a tag specialist. And that just kind of became my forte, but it kind of became what everybody just saw me as. And it became the normal for what everyone saw me as. And so for me to go to Riyadh and to go to Saudi Arabia, where, women are still not considered main eventers, or they're not considered to have as many rights as the women over here have, and to have a street fight and to have that kind of a reaction after a street fight from not just people watching the match who know the business, but from people who've never seen wrestling before and watching it for the first time and hearing their reactions. I feel very honored to know that that's something that I've trained hard in doing, is perfecting my craft. And that right there was my craft. And I'm so glad that everybody has been able to see it and they've been able to be reminded of exactly what Raquel Rodriguez can do. She's not just, your very experienced 6-time women's tag team champion. She is an ex NXT women's champion. I will fight for any singles title when I get the opportunity to, and I will show up and I will show out. And so just to have that chance and to be able to work with Rhea again and to step into the ring with my arch nemesis, because we all know she is my enemy for life. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to create magic with someone so talented.
You sort of answered the question there for me, Raquel, but is it a goal of yours to be doing more single stuff? I still remember you challenging for the Intercontinental Championship right prior to WrestleMania. Obviously, the Elimination Chamber in Perth was a huge moment for you as well, too. But is that maybe a goal to step back into the singles scene a little bit more?
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I think like, being in the tag division has really kind of helped me coming back from my illness and from that year that I was off, because it kind of helps with my confidence in the same way that like I'm still struggling every now and then. I get reactions on my skin. I'm still trying to find what exactly is causing these histamine flare-ups, or what's going on with my body, how I can control it, how I can stop it. And so it's all been a learning process since I've come back. But it's also been a growth for my confidence, because every time I get a reaction, I feel like it's better than the last one. I feel like it lasts shorter than the last one. And every time I get into the ring, I just feel like I get better than the last time I was in the ring. And I feel like I just want to do that more. And so being in this position has really helped me kind of slowly acclimate into the position that I am right now, which is confident to say that I would love to challenge Io Sky, or to challenge Tiffany Stratton, or to challenge Becky Lynch, or to challenge Julia for any single one of those singles titles, for sure.
You brought up Becky, and I wanted to ask you about the WrestleMania moment. Maybe it wasn't necessarily the Judgment Days moment at that time, but what was it like being in the ring when one of the biggest stars in wrestling makes her return after so long in front of 70, 80,000 fans?
It's wild. It's wild. I wish I had
I could have
my
answered that myself, probably, hey?
yeah, no, like I wish I had my Ray-Bans. I mean, I had them on because I have those Meta AIs that record, and so I've done a few videos on my social media where like I'm in the ring with Dominic and you hear like the 17,000, 20,000 fans in the arena we're in for that Monday Night Raw just booing him.
Yeah.
That I thought was absolutely insane, because like I have one of them posted and it's like you can't hear anything. You can't hear anything other than those boos. But at WrestleMania, and to be in such a huge stadium with whatever how many numbers of people there were, it was a lot, multiples. It was absolutely insane. I wish in that moment I had pushed record, because I just would love to share that with the world. how wild it is but that just goes to show and remind everyone again that our WWE fans are so loyal. They're so passionate. They love this just as much as we do. And that's why I think we always want to pour our hearts out for them as well.
That's cool to hear. I'll have to go back and check out that video with Dominic because even sitting as a
Yeah.
fan, sometimes you can hardly hear what he's saying. And
Yeah.
it's very, very cool how the Judgment Day has obviously evolved over the last few years. And you've been apart for nearly a year now, which is even wild to say at this point. What do you maybe attribute the longevity or just the reason that they've been able to get so many fans behind them and been able to last so long in an industry that's maybe a little bit more temporary sometimes than people would
Yeah,
like?
I think the thing with the Judgment Day and getting longevity out of it has been the switch ups. There's been so many switch ups of not just like main characters, but also the players' roles as well, and bringing new people in and transitioning other people out, and that's really what kind of happens with WWE when it comes to Raw and SmackDown. Is there has to be a storyline, there has to be a progression for each character, there has to be something for this person to have to fight for or to go for whatever their goal is. You know what I mean? And so Judgment Day always has that. Right now, we kind of have reached our goal. I don't know if you've noticed, but the entire club carries gold. So we have 5 titles for 5 members of the Judgment Day at the current moment.
Pretty good success rate.
Yeah, I don't want to brag, but we have what we want. So, but now, of course, our journey is keeping these titles, keeping them in Judgment Day, and stopping all those other little people with those sticky little fingers who think that they can live up to these titles. They can't. No, no, no. These are Judgment Day titles.
No, no, no. It'll be 6 time. It'll be 6 time because you're holding them for a long time. I want to bring it full circle because the first time that we interviewed, I sort of touched on this with you a couple of years ago, oddly enough, at Elimination Chamber in Montreal. But you brought up Bianca Belair. Obviously, you've had your history with Rhea Ripley over the past X amount of years since you signed with WWE. Talk to me a little bit about that moment in NXT where all 3 of you showed up with your titles. Like, were you guys expecting that to happen? Was it brought by surprise? Because just again, watching back from the fan perspective, I watch all 3 of your jaws just drop through the thing.
Honestly, it was a bit of a surprise. It definitely was. We hadn't seen Bianca all day that day. You know what I mean? It was a wild weekend coming after WrestleMania and coming back to Orlando and to NXT. So it was a surprise for us for sure. But that was just a beautiful moment that like I again, one of those moments that I'm just so grateful that I get to be in this opportunity and represent. Because coming as a small girl from South Texas that didn't know exactly how to make it, how to get herself out there, what to do, and to be able to stand in the ring with 2 of the very best, holding up a singles title, being a representation for the NXT women's roster, it just meant the world to me. It still means the world to me, and I'm so grateful for that. And so I just love that feeling.
And I'm certain it ain't the last time you're standing in the ring with one or both of them holding the title.
No, it
Raquel,
ain't.
it has been a blast, friend. It is always great to get to catch up. I'm very, very excited to tune in this Sunday, July 13th, to Evolution 2, where hopefully you're walking in and walking out with those WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Thank you once again. And friends, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to give us a like. Be sure to give us a follow, both for myself and, of course, Raquel Rodriguez. You got to keep up to date with where the Women's Tag Team Championships are going. But keep up to date with the latest and greatest from Love Wrestling right here. And thank you once again for tuning in.